And we are back again. It's your friendly neighborhood film watchers. We are Frankly Football. I'm your humble host, Brandon, and I got my man, 100 Grand. Set it off, Chris, with me. Chris, how you doing today?
Hey, man, chilling, bro. Chilling at the crib. Got my Bad Boys t-shirt on, for them Virginia Tech Hokie wide receivers, man. Been chilling. We've been off, man, since like last week. Yeah. Because, turned around, graduations and things like that, man. And didn't want to cheat the people, man, but wanted to definitely get back in the shop and get cracking, man. So what's going on, bro?
So, Chris, OTAs have been happening, and it's a lot of ways similar to how you got to look at the combine. It's like the underwear Olympics, OTAs and things of that nature should lead you back to the film, for a lot of players. So anyway, OTAs have been happening, and we got a good look at like some of our newer acquisitions. We've seen how big Solomon Thomas is, and I'm gonna pause that. But Solomon Thomas is a physically imposing character now. And
hey, man, cut up like dope money, man. Dude is cut up like dope money, man.
Dog, like that really reminds me how big some of these players are when you get to see them. Like they are not normal people. They are not human beings.
Yeah, they got dipped on the genetic side of the pool just a tad bit longer
they won that lottery,
than the rest of it. They won that lottery, man. They won that lottery, man.
But we also kind of got to get a look at who was with some of the different teams. Who's with the first team, who's with the second team, so on and so forth. And just to start it off, the position where a lot of people wanted to glean some information, and that's a short word, but that's a TI word of the day, glean. To glean a little bit of information was that running back room, because we saw that the majority of the time Javonte Williams was leading it with the ones.
Okay.
Saw a little bit of Miles Sanders here and there, a little sprinkle. But I don't think that Jadon Blue has had any reps with the ones. What do you think about that?
It's early. It's early. It's into the season of, because honestly, you want to find out who your bell is going, who your one is going to be. Blue is always going to be that change of pace, out the backfield, kind of the way we wanted to use Tony Pollard the entire time we had him.
Yeah.
So Blue is going to get those opportunities, but we want to find out bona fide now, so you can say, okay, Javonte Williams can't do it. Let's go find a guy. Miles Sanders, he can't do it. Let's go find a guy. Before you turn around and just say, hey, just go get a guy. I think we've been pounding the drum. I think a lot of Cowboys content creators and everybody around the board have been pounding the drum to go get a guy. But now on OTAs, you can kind of start seeing it. And it's underwear, it's, the shorts, no shoulder pads, but it's still some football. And you can kind of see what guys are doing. That's what you're kind of seeing guys do. So I think that's what they're looking for right now.
Okay. Another thing that we've seen is, of course, Tyler Booker, first round draft pick, is running with the ones, so remember last year when they tried to kind of sprinkle Guyton in here, sprinkle Guyton in there, but there really was a lot of uncertainty with that position. I don't think that they're doing that anymore.
Well, I
like that. Go ahead.
No, because the thing about it is that people got some job security. When you had Solari there, and he was turning around, I want him to go down here with the fours and get all the reps. Listen, I need to figure out what he's going to do. And when you pick a guy at 12, you make him your first round pick. He is replacing, El Presidente, aka Zach Martin. You turn around and you block him and you put him at 12, and you let him fight and find out what he's going to do. I think he's been showing promise. I think he's been doing well. But I think the guy that you're probably going to touch on next on the offensive line is the guy that we all wanted to see make that step forward. And I think that's what Tyler Guyton.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. He did like some of the sideline reporting and whatnot. He spoke to some of the beat guys. I think he spoke to Clarence Hill.
Right.
So, just the regulars out there, right? And he was frank, Frankly Football. He was frank about his performance last year and what he has to do. They didn't really hide away from it.
They shot from it, took full responsibility of it. Sounded like it. It was everything that we had said before. He cares about it. So because he cares, it means it's important to him for him to get better. He knew what he had to go do. So like I said, and we've been kind of banging around this, but I think OTAs confirmed some of the things that I believed you were not having faith in them because you didn't want to, you didn't want to overdo. You didn't want your trust taken advantage of. I'll give that for you. You didn't want your faith and trust taken advantage. So he's like, hey man, I don't know what to expect from him, but I expected that he cared. He was gonna come back. He's gonna work harder. And then with a guy like Tyler Smith right there next to him, who's really pressing now to take the next step to be that next great guard in the NFL to solidify that team. I think this O-line, man, is going to really gel and have the opportunity to do something super duper special and really set the tone for whoever runs the ball this year. And then the guy who gets behind him next year, man, he's gonna be super duper special, man. I'm being totally honest with you. It kind of reminds us like when in 2015 we had Darren McFadden. Yeah, and, Darren McFadden fought to get 1,000, a little bit over 1,000 yards.
Darren McFadden was a 1,000-yard rusher in what was it like 2015, man? Crazy.
2015, right? Then you turned around the next year and Zeke Elliott came, and it was like, man, 2000. But the offensive line had kind of just formed into Voltron and was able to do their thing. And I think that's what happens. And I think this gives you the ability for this team to really take big steps because now your offensive line's maturing. You got 2 ones on the outside in their prime. You see what I'm saying? Not like one guy. Like when we had Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and Michael Gallup, Amari was already a dog. Yeah. CeeDee was trying to come into his own, and Mike was kind of like, Michael Gallup was kind of like here and there. Now you got 2 bona fide ones, so somebody's going to have to step up to find out to be that 3 and 4. And then you still got Turpin with a little money in his pocket, 2 years in the league, knowing he could play at this level. I think it gives this offense the ability to really explode on the scene this year.
It's after June 1st, Chris. It's after June 1st. Teams should have, and for what it's worth, I haven't done all my research on this.
Right.
Teams should have released their guys who would be like your post-June 1st cuts at this point in time. Do you think that the Cowboys would be the team that, kind of waits on getting some guys, or maybe kind of they're done?
No, bro. Listen, man, this is the Dollar Tree because, we're not giving Dollar General any love in these streets nowadays. But it's Dollar Tree season for Stephen Jones because now he's going to get the guys in the UFL who shined a little bit to see what they can do. Yeah. And now he's going to look at these June 1 cuts and he's going to go pluck a piece here, a piece there. But I'm thinking there's really only 2 spots that I really think he's worth that we have pounded the table for. I want to use that again, but really made our point that we need to go get is a 1 tech. Yes. And but see, if you go get a UFL running back, well, he's not better than Javonte Williams or Miles Sanders. Sure. So it's like you're gonna go pick another piece that has uncertainty on it, and it's gonna give a lot of Cowboys fans like they haven't done anything. To me, they still have to do the other things that are necessary for me to be fully feeling like they're all in, and that's go ahead and get at least 2 of the 3 guys that I want signed before the season starts. I need to go and get that out the way.
I
need to get those guys signed so that I can see, okay, we pulled all these switches. Now we're going full speed ahead. Everybody's happy with their money. Everybody's doing what they need to do, and then we can go forward. That's what I'm looking for.
The Cowboys like spectacle, though, Chris. They like the grandstand. So today on a random Tuesday, I don't see them really signing Micah Parsons. I could see them signing Micah Parsons like the first day of camp. They walk into Oxnard, California, and Micah steps off the plane, and it's a contract right there in front.
Wow! Like bam! There you go. Yeah, and I can see that too. So they can capture the news cycle. But for you and I and most of the Cowboy Nation, man, I don't want to capture the news cycle, man. I like what has been going on thus far. That it's all about, hey, we're doing this, we're focusing on that. You're setting the tone for the season. Culture is the big word around the building now, and I just want to. My big TI word for the day is getting the brother pockets fat. Let's get him into rubber band man status.
There we go.
Let's get rubber band man status so people can go ahead and get that out the way. Because, like Biggie said, man, more money, more problems. Let's go and get that out the way, get everything situated so we can go to camp and not have to worry about that.
What's the best way to say this? Now that, we kind of in the dead period, if you was to just search up, random team, that has a new coach. The Saints, they got Kellen Moore. You could type out Kellen Moore and then culture. A article will come up about Kellen Moore wanting to change that team's culture. If you was to type up Patriots and the word culture, or whatever, whoever their coach.
I mean, if you type up Mike Vrabel, you're gonna get Stephon Diggs and Cardi B on there. You might be sitting there for a minute trying to see how that thing working. But
my point is that every new coach wants to change their culture. You know what I'm saying? We are just more affected by it because we're fans of the Cowboys.
Yeah, I think they keep using it as a buzzword, or things are changing, or things are moving, because everybody wants to get away from the the elephant in the room about not about the Super Bowl and not getting to the NFC Championship in the last 30 years. So something's got to change. Well, we already know what's going to be constant. We already know the Joneses are going to be constants. So the only thing can change is got to be the way we communicate in the building and how cohesive we are together. And me and you talked about it before. You can't have it to the point where you've got people going to the Joneses past the head coach.
Yeah.
And so you want to be able to the point that you can talk to that coach, reach out to him. He understands you. You understand him. You're going to fight for him. He's definitely going to try to put you in the best position possible. So I think that's what you're getting. So, but I think what Shadi has done is he did something that I've seen another coach that I love and admire dearly. He kind of linked the past and the present together to let those guys understand it, because those guys want to be part of the building. So when he had Legends Day, when he had guys like Hollywood Henderson, Tony Casillas, Michael Irvin, and a lot of the guys back in the building to talk to these guys, those guys want to say, hey man, this is what a lot of those guys weren't alive. More than none of them guys was hardly alive when them guys was running around here doing their thing, or when the last time they went to the Super Bowl. And so it's now to the point where you're trying to link that and let them understand, hey, this is what we got to do to get it to that level. But he's done a great job with that. I mean, you got to remember, when he got hired, Michael Irvin excoriated him. TI word, scorched earth him, saying, this was the worst decision ever for Michael to turn around now and on his podcast and different things like that. It's just saying, hey, listen, you're going to be surprised about what we do. I like that. But what I think, a lot of our other counterparts in this, in the Cowboy content creator world feel like they're kind of placating us by saying, oh, hey, culture, let's focus on culture, but not seeing that they've changed some things. But I think they've really put pieces in rooms. And I'm talking about almost every room outside of the guys I'm waiting to come back injury-wise to help this football team get better. Is every room elite? Absolutely not. No. But does every room have pieces that we can work with and build on? I definitely believe so. I just go back to Zach Bond, and I'm talking about the Sanborn kid. Zach Bond, I didn't even know who the hell he was. And then he turns around, he's all pro, and he's playing with a great football team because the front four lets him run around and he gets an opportunity to showcase his talent. I think the Sanborn kid gets the opportunity to do that too. I think Louisville gets the next step up. I think you picked up some. I think you really picked up some really good undrafted free agents to come and play, and that's kind of our calling card here in Dallas. We're gonna go get an undrafted free agent guy. He gets the storyline. He makes it. He does certain things. So I like a lot of guys they picked up. I think Zion Childress out of Kentucky. They picked up a couple guys from Syracuse that I like. The Holden wide receiver, Holden, the kid out of Oregon. And a couple of different dudes, man, that are there. The guy that kind of got me was the undrafted tight end from Virginia who I think has a really good shot of
The guy with the
cracking it.
hearing issue, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I think because of him, I think he helps us. Because you kind of want to have some guys who can. You're going to want to have tight ends who can block and have that dynamic, because that's what we're going to do. We're going to run the football down your throat. We're going to move you against your will.
Yeah.
And I think he has the opportunity to be that third or maybe fourth guy.
Now, one thing, Chris, you mentioned how the Cowboys are focusing on culture because they want the fans' eye to be away from the continued drop, right? Brian Charlton had kind of spoke on that when I'm not sure if it was John Machota that actually spoke to him today, but he posted the quote on Twitter, right? Brian Schottenheimer, when mentioned about that, said, "I don't get caught up in the Cowboys Super Bowl drought. This is 1 year. This is the first year of mine. When the season's over, we move on. We do. You move on. 2024 is over. Now it's 2025. Are we going to win the Super Bowl this year? I think we are. Excuse me. I think we are. If we don't, you move on. I'm not wired that way because I'm competing every day to try to win a Super Bowl. If I'm looking back and worrying about that, I'm not focusing on what really matters, which is making sure we have an incredible practice today." So, yes, it could be that there is a light shined on the Super Bowl drought, right? But at the same time, the coach doesn't seem to be focused on that as much as either we or the people above him might be.
Well, I think as a fan base, we're worried about it. I definitely think the people upstairs, they hear it. They listen to us. They understand all that.
You can put that on good authority that they listen to Cowboys YouTubers. You can put that on good authority.
Great authority. But the thing about it is that you can only, you can control the controllables. I learned that from the great Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. You control the controllables, and you go out and have a great practice today. You got and you keep stacking days. Then you turn around, you look up, boom, you 90 days, and you into the season. So, I think what he's saying is he's spot on. He's right on point with what we're trying to say, what we're trying to do. Stack these days, do the things we need to do to get to the next level, and we'll be fine. But I think, that's just because we're in this period where we don't have any football, we don't have any camp, we don't have anything going on. We need something to talk about to fill in spaces. And that's why you get all these kind of different lists, you get all these kind of different things, and then you go off on simple things like, we had, best pass rushing duos. I think me and you talked about it a little bit. And things about that. We just need stuff to fill in space. But I think what we're not trying to do, or what people are thinking they're trying to move, play like the cat with the light, move it around and not focus on the main thing. The main thing still has to be we are trying to acquire another rotational piece at the one tech. And find out who's going to be our starting running back, or do we need to go get another running back? Those are the two things, and then just them getting better daily and gelling. Everybody, there's, like you said, there's been a bullseye on a couple people's back all off season. Everybody in the running back room and Mozzie Smith, and I'm just hoping that they're able to kind of drown out the outside noise. Keep working on getting better here, and we've said it over and over and over, and it's going to be the same thing. We won't know what we have at one tech until we get into padded practices
for sure
against our own guys. See, here's going to be the problem: if he's whooping our guys, right? If they whooping our guys, we're like, what's wrong with our guys? But then it may just be to the point it's good on good,
Yeah, absolutely, but. I think we kind of fell into that trap last year, like with Kalen Carson. We fell into the trap of, Kalen Carson is putting the seatbelt, putting the straitjacket on the guys that he's lined up against. But it turns out that those guys just weren't CeeDee Lamb. You know what I'm saying? So you got to avoid falling into that trap in camp time. I think that when you start doing those joint practices, that's when you can really judge a guy.
But I think Carson. But and I understand, and you said that several times before. I just think to the point he was a rookie, He got hurt. But I think Carson can play.
I turned over a new leaf, Chris. I said this the other day. I'm doing my best not to judge rookies. I'm doing my best not to judge rookies. So he is absolved of all blame from me.
Oh my goodness.
He is absolved of all blame because he was a rookie. But I might judge a sophomore. I'll consider it.
I mean, you just want to see, hey, the thing you want to know, did he get bigger, right? Did he learn from his mistakes, right? And is he ready to come back and continue the process? Sure. Because we all say year 3 is the year that's got to come on. Year 2, you want to start seeing some promise. So, it's a lot of guys.
After year 2, maybe year 3. Maybe year 3. I haven't decided that yet. After year 2, for sure, though, you know what a guy is.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, you think about it. If you'd have did that with DeMarcus Lawrence, you would have turned around and said he wasn't going to be that guy. But year 4, he goes out and gets 16 sacks. So you never know. So the only thing that you can hope for, especially with Carson, is that he's learned from what he had to do, and he's turned around and he's going to start getting more reps, and his confidence is better, and he's working with different coaches. Yeah. So I think Carson's going to be fine. It's just we want to see if they're going to make some more moves. June 6th, I think they can start making some moves. And I definitely want to see them, hey, the Cowboys reached out to this guy. Hey, we find out what's going on with this. I don't know how willing Detroit is going to be wanting to give up DJ Reader now that they lost their center, Frank Ragnow, because it's going to be a little bit tougher. See, that's the team I see coming back to the fold to me. You've lost you lost way too many pieces.
They did, man. They did. You got Aiden Hutchinson, hopefully coming back from injury.
Right.
Into top form, but it might not be immediate. You lose your center, you lose your coaches. So absolutely, man. I get it. Detroit could fall from grace very quickly. Now, granted, they over the past few years, they've drafted and signed very well. Over the past 4 or 5 years. And it all came together over the last 2. But yeah, man, when you lose, like your team gets stripped down to the skeleton, it's hard to recover.
I just think you lose bigger. I think you lose more of your X's and O guys out of the building. When you lose Ben Johnson, when you lose
Aaron Glenn,
Aaron Glenn, you lose the culture setter, tone setter, and Antoine Randall L. with your wide receiver room where you got guys like that. But one of your biggest pieces you lose, man, is when you lose your all-pro center. Now, I don't care what nobody say, bro. Now, I don't care. We as Cowboy Nation, we know what that feels like firsthand. We know what that feels like, how that can change the whole dynamic of your football team. So, man, I don't wish any bad to happen to Jared Goff, but I know that that's going to be a huge transition for that football team, especially a physical football team that wants to run the football first. It definitely shows me, man, hey, that's a big blow. That's a huge blow. And it kind of got swept under the rug like, oh, that's no big deal. But when I saw that, I said, okay, they coming back to the pack, which kind of helps.
It's a big loss for the football team, but like me personally, I am always a players type of guy. I want the player to listen to their body.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that he did it. I think that players nowadays are generally thinking about life after football more than ever before.
Indeed.
So that's why you have, even though Travis Frederick was able to recover for the most part, he was like, even though Calvin Johnson only played, he didn't even play a decade. I don't think.
No, I think he played 9 years.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. But see, that's the thing about it. When you start, you go do the work, you play well. You do what you can do, but he wasn't to the point. I'm going to chase this, that, and the other to get to the Hall. My numbers are going to speak for myself to get to the Hall. I'm just going to take care of my body. I'm going to get out the game while I can do what I want to do, and it makes sense, man. You got to remember, these cats been playing football since they was 4, 5, 6 years old. When you get to 28, that's a long time. 24 years in any job is a long time. So you go
and a lot of those guys. I'm not sure if players now really came up doing it, but like players that was like coming up into the NFL in like the early to mid 2000s. As kids, you got to remember they was doing Oklahoma and bullpen as kids.
Man,
so they are getting
snot lockered.
Yeah,
they getting snot lockered and laid out. So you definitely know it's a different thing, man. So
Yeah.
it definitely makes sense to start listening to your body and things of that nature.
Mhm.
Talking about back in the day with back in the day do Oklahoma drills and things of that nature, man. Yo, we got a good friend of the program, man, a guy that I love with my whole heart, man. I talk to him like I talked to you, B. My man DMV Fanatic, and he was out on one of his little nature walks up in old Northern Virginia. And he went on a tirade about the numbers, man. So back in the day, I wasn't a football guy. I was a basketball player. So, we all wanted when I was playing, if you was, it's like it was two numbers you wanted.
Yeah.
You wanted number one because like I'm the best player on the team.
Yep.
You wanted 23 because you wanted to be, 23 ways to make them pay. You wanted to be that dude from Wilmington, Carolina dudes do it different, and, I'm just saying, it's how it be. And those are the two numbers you wanted. So John had made a point about this a couple weeks ago when it came out about numbers, and we finally got George Pickens' number, B. We finally got it, man.
Yeah, he's going to wear number 3.
Okay. 3, okay. Now, I don't know. Do you know any great number 3s that you remember in the league?
Great number 3s. I know the most recent number 3. But great number 3s. Guess what? I have the internet at the palm of my hand, right?
Yeah. NFL number 3s. You got Russell Wilson.
I mean, Russ. 3. Yeah, Russ.
Russ. Okay, Russ was number 3.
Yeah,
come on,
Chris.
Come on. Wide receiver.
Bronco Nagurski.
Oh, Bronco.
I don't know who that is. That was in the 1930s. That was. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I know who it is.
I wasn't even a twinkle in my daddy's eye.
Neither was I, but I know who Bronco Nagurski is. But yeah, ain't been too many famous number 3s. So
no,
man, John lost it, man, because John felt that George Pickens was such a great acquisition that he should be able to come and walk through the door and get whatever number he wanted.
Yeah.
Didn't make a difference. Hey, if I want, outside of 12, right, and outside of 8 and 22, I should be able to get any number I want, right? And the guy settled on 3. I like 13 on him. I thought 13 was kind of nasty.
13 is cool. 13 is cool.
13 was my number in basketball, so I thought 13 was hot. I like 13. And Michael Gallup won, so he can make it look hot. Yeah. But I've come to conclusion.
And for what it's worth, you got a few 13s in the hall. Like you got Kurt Warner, you got Dan Marino.
Yeah.
So you got there's some legacy behind 13. Might not be for receivers, but
there's a legacy behind it. But what always ends up happening, a legacy comes. I mean, shoot, you had recently 13. You had Odell Beckham 13 when he was with the Giants. I mean, so it don't. It's really to the point. The number don't make the person. The person make the number.
Yes.
If you go out there and ball, you be 51. Don't make a difference. He's just going to work, man.
Yeah.
So
I do think that the player makes the number, but I think that certain numbers look ugly on certain positions. Like a running back in the 40s just don't do it for me. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's
a running back up in New York, man, who don't necessarily look like that.
Amen. The Avis car rental guy up in New York, I don't care what number he wear, man. Honestly, he need to take off Bradshaw's number, because that guy could play. I don't know so much how good that guy, to me, is at all. Okay. So, like I said, I don't listen. I got more faith in Hunter Lemke than I do in that guy. I know Hunter Lemke could play. You know what I'm saying? That dude, I have no idea what he can do. Hunter Lemke went and got it out the mud. He went out and got the North Dakota State and got it out the mud. This dude is living on this height, and I'm not. Come on, dude. It's a family show.
Chris hates Cam Scattergood.
Hey, I didn't say I hated that man. I just said I had very little to no faith in his football playing ability. You know what I'm saying? So I'm entitled to that.
But when I said things about Jeff Heath,
first off, anything you said about Jeff Heath was lies and propaganda because Jeff Heath is the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? The GOAT. And so nothing negative. For 27 snaps, Jeff Heath is the GOAT. Snap 28, not so much.
Yeah, Curry GOAT.
Jerk chicken, Curry, yeah, Curry GOAT.
Hey man, I tell you, but Chris, I don't get the outburst around like a player not getting their number. Like, and so let me kind of set the stage.
Mm-hmm.
A bit of the outburst was surrounding the fact that George Pickens' number was 14 in Pittsburgh.
Absolutely.
Currently, number 14 is one by one Marquise Bell, right?
Absolutely right.
So people were up in arms about, well, Marquise Bell ain't really a household name. Pickens should just be able to get the number. He's that dude. We traded for him instead of Rice to the Reed, right?
There you go.
I don't really care what number a player wears. I might give me a Pickens jersey. I might give me a Pickens jersey, but I don't care what number he chooses to wear. I don't think that'll boost his playing ability by any,
Well, I think it's like this. I think and the Cowboys make it a bigger deal than it needs to be. Mm-hmm. When DeMarion Overshown wanted to wear 0, we couldn't wear 0 because Rowdy's number, right? So that was a big issue.
I take that back. I'm getting me an Overshown jersey.
Right. So that was the deal about that. So the deal with Overshown kind of put more of a spectacle on it. I feel like this. As bad as they talked about him in Pittsburgh and the rest of the nation talked about him in 14, I don't want him in 14. Put him in 3. Model citizen, scoring touchdowns, doing great things, shaking people's hands at the end.
New identity. A whole new identity.
A whole new person. And then guess what? We're going and go ahead and get to the NFC Championship and lose because an alien came out the ceiling or something like that. That's what I'm feeling. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I don't have a problem with them in 3. And I just want all these guys to go and feel. I want them to feel good the way they're at. Mm-hmm. I want them to be uncomfortably comfortable. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I want them.
Shoulders got to be rubbing, Chris. How many times?
Got to be rubbing, and then just trying to get better every day. So, I really don't care. He's number 3, great. I might want to wait a little bit later down the road, maybe to final cuts before I decide which Pickens jersey I get, because he might switch again, because it could turn out. Dono can get cut.
Yeah.
We can turn around and put number 6 on Fowler. Fowler give up 13, give 13 back to Pickens, and we off and running. Yeah. So I'm gonna wait until the final cuts before we start doing that. But at the end of the day, I just want everybody. I want him to stay healthy. I want him to keep getting better and better. This is the one thing that I like to see is that he's been in OTA and it hasn't been any. I remember one time I saw him when he was in Pittsburgh, and he caught a ball on Joey Porter and threw it at him. I haven't seen that kind of stuff with him yet.
Cool.
So
perfect.
I'm with that, man. But I also in the gym, getting super sexy for the fall. Saw Russell Wilson throwing the football, and I can see why that joker was mad, man. That joker was god awful, man, all over the place. So I just think he's in a better place.
Yeah. I believe so. I think that a change of scenery could do that for a lot of players. One guy, and just continuing OTA talk. One guy that a lot of eyes have been on was a quarterback, Joe Milton. Not our starting quarterback, but our newly acquired backup quarterback, Joe Milton. A lot of good talk on his arm and things of that nature. How he can throw it 20 yards, just sitting down, laying on his back with his arms crossed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he does have
that with his left hand at that.
Yeah.
But like one of the things, just from the first and second OTAs was how he looked a little nervous to start out, and then once he kind of got the jitters off at the start of the practice, he went on and kind of smoothed things out towards the end of each other. And that could just be that he doesn't know the system here. He's in a new location, all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and whatnot. What do you think about Joe Milton's performance in these two OTAs? Quarterback is one of the positions where I think that you can look at him and say, okay, this is kind of what I can expect, just because the guy's going to throw the ball. You know what I'm saying? If he's accurate, he's accurate. If he's inaccurate, he's inaccurate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
what do you think about Joe Milton?
I just think Joe is, me and you were talking offline. Joe Milton is going to be your backup quarterback. I think they rolled snake eyes, when they went and got Trey Lance. But the one thing the Cowboys do want, they want him young, they want him mobile, they want him athletic, and they want him to have a big arm. They want their next quarterback to be along the lines. And I give this because I said another guy. They want the next Josh Allen.
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
want the next Josh Allen.
That was my comment.
Yeah, and big, strong, athletic, big arm, and they want to be able to sit for a little bit. Mm-hmm. I think, I was thinking he was saying he was closer to Dak coming out of college, but no, he's more like Josh Allen. Yeah, he's more like Josh Allen. So, right now, where there's no pads, nobody swiping at you, nobody having the opportunity to put, not sack you, but touch you a little bit closer than they want to. He's looked fine because he's learned a new system. The biggest thing with Joe Milton, like it was in college, he has to have reps, but he's going to trust. He's going to trust that big old arm of his above everything else. And because he has the mobility, he's going to want to move around. But I think him getting the opportunity to sit behind Rain, be in that position where he can start watching it, letting it slow down. And, we get a couple of blowouts, maybe early, maybe he can get some snaps, maybe some third quarter work, maybe some fourth quarter work. Then, you maybe got something. When Rain was on his MVP, tear of 2023, and the dude probably played maybe 4 or 5, 7 fourth quarters?
He sat out in total for the year 8 fourth quarters.
Right, 8 fourth quarters. So that's a great time.
And the only reason I know is because I tweeted that a while back, and I just so happened to go back and see that tweet. Like 3 or 4 days ago.
Right. So, you get that time, you get a guy to mold him, prepare him, and things of that nature. Because, we do have a quarterback who's injury prone. As much as I hate to say it, it's fact. And so, because you're going to have to expect that guy, hopefully, to be able to come in and win maybe 4 or 5 games if Rain does go down. But you just want him to be starting getting them ready, getting them prepared, and feel like you make that transition. The Cowboys are trying to do what very few teams have done in the last 30, 40 years of football, go from have consistent quarterback play that keeps you relevant, and not have that dip, to go from for however you feel about him, Tony Romo to Randy Dakota Prescott. That's 20 plus year of consistent quarterback play.
Yeah. I think this season makes it 20. Because Romo really started coming in 04? I think it was.
Absolutely, yeah.
Over.
Yeah. He took up. Yeah, and so you got no. Was it 04? Was it 04?
It was either 04 or 05.
No. Yeah, it was 04. It was it's one of those years. It was. Yeah. So you look at that transition for him keeping you relevant and giving you the ability to win games. That's huge. So I think the Cowboys are doing the right thing by bringing a guy, letting him sit, having Rain, CD, Pickens married to each other, along with Shoddy, to get us to the next step. And let's see what Joe Milton can do, in these preseason games.
So let me start off by saying this. I really only see the Cowboys keeping 2 quarterbacks. I'm not sure if they still have like the emergency quarterback thing where you can add and drop that third guy every other Thursday or something like that. But I really only see the Cowboys keeping 2 quarterbacks on the 53. So with that being said, Dak is probably going to get like a quarter a game. But besides that, man, I want to see as much Joe Milton as possible. Get as much exposure as possible, because just like you said, man, I'm not going to put the injury prone tag on Dak just yet, but this year is going to determine if he is, in my eyes.
I mean, my thing, as long as the first team O-line is out there, I want Rain out there. As soon as some of my first team guys start going off, come on over here and grab this clipboard and let Joe go dance for his life a little bit.
The only reason that I say it, not entirely that, is because I want to see Joe throw with a little bit of comfort.
Well,
Like
okay.
if the opposing team is only playing like their second and third guys, then sure, get them starters out of there. But I want to see Joe Milton with, and this is way too early talk as far as preseason games, right? We still got 2 months, give or take.
Yeah,
But I want to see Joe's ability to mesh with some of these starters.
I got you. Yeah, I want to see all that, but that's where I'm at with it. I don't want to see
Mm-hmm.
I want to see him in a position where he can be comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
get a feel for what's going on, and rock in that situation.
Mm.
That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see.
So I saw this thing the other day, and I think it was from PFF. It was the top 5 quarterback slash it was top 5 like new quarterback slash head coach duos. You know what I'm saying? And this is talked about on one of the sports shows. My brother sent it to me.
Mm-hmm.
He laughed at it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because at first when I looked at the list, and while I'm talking, I'm gonna see if I can find it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You would have thought that it would have been like young quarterbacks and new coaches and stuff like that, right? But turns out that it wasn't. And I'm trying to find it here.
Okay, so you talking about in the NFL top 5 coaches and quarterback combos?
Yeah, new quarterback, new coach combo.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
okay.
That's what I thought it was. Turns out it won't that. It was just a quarterback with a new coach. Number 1 was Caleb Williams and Aaron
Ben Johnson.
Oh, Ben Johnson.
Yeah, Ben Johnson.
New York.
Yeah,
Ben
yeah.
Johnson. That was number 1 new quarterback coach duo to be afraid of.
Okay.
Also on that list, they had the Jets. Excuse me, Justin Fields and Aaron Glenn.
Okay.
Let me see, who else did they have on there?
Okay.
Trevor Lawrence and Duval. I don't even know his coach's name. I just know him from the soundbite. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was that was terrible, dude.
Mm-hmm.
That was god awful. Yeah, I don't even know that dude's name.
Yeah,
he was clean. That was corny.
Yeah. He's immortalized as a soundbite now, which is crazy.
They deserve to lose all their games just for that soundbite alone. But Trevor Lawrence and that guy, and then who else?
I forget the rest.
Did they put New Orleans? Did they put him in the quarterback? Kellen, who?
No,
Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler, who?
No, I don't believe they did. But man, I don't know why I can't find it on Twitter. But
wait, Gino and
yeah, there we go. That was one of them. That was one of them. And I can't remember the last one. I can't remember the last one for the life of me. But what made me believe that it wasn't just young guys is Gino. You know what I'm saying? It was just they was just putting names on there. But you got to remember, I think they had somebody but like a new offensive coordinator on there too, which really made me like question it. Because all due disrespect to him, Philly got a new offensive coordinator, man. With all due disrespect.
Yeah, but listen, man, I'm gonna be totally honest with you, man. You're gonna say all these guys, with new coaches and things of that nature. It was a new head coach, not a new offensive coordinator. It was a head coach. So it should have been Brian Schottenheimer and Rain Dakota Prescott.
Oh, I remember the last one. J.J. McCarthy and Kevin O'Connell.
Okay, like I said, McCarthy's never taken an NFL snap.
Yeah.
He got hurt in practice. Not a game. Practice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to hear all this. I love the disrespect, man. I know we talk about it often, man. But my quarterback is the ultimate hold my beer guy.
Yeah.
He is the we can't do that, and he feeds off of it, man. And there's nothing worse than putting not just a rock, but a chip on his shoulder. But that joker carried the whole rock of Gibraltar on his back, man. And he loves it, man. And he coined the phrase, pressure is a privilege.
Yeah.
And so he's gonna go out, man, and he's gonna be in the best shape of his life, and go do what he does best, man, and just silence all the naysayers, get the ball out to these people, and then he's going to have the luxury of the one thing he hasn't had while he's been under his full superpowers as being four is hopefully a competent running game. Yeah. I could just only imagine it would be kind of like the, you know, and I can say this because this is our show. It could be almost like, you know, welcome to the best of both worlds. Jay-Z and R. Kelly with Rain Dakota Prescott throwing the football and a competent run game, man. And that's what I'm looking for, man. And so that's what we shooting for, man. So keep the disrespect rolling. Let our guys stay healthy. Let this thing called culture be to the point of we unifying and, you know, being you know, engaging and trusting one another because nobody believes in us. And it's kind of the same thing Detroit did, you know, it's us against the world. But in our mindset, man, it's us against the entire universe because everybody don't think we get more hype than we should. We get more love than we should. It helps all the 4-letter networks and everything else. When we're good, it helps them because people want to see us fail and people want to see us win. So it's a great situation for us.
And it's actually interesting, Chris. You mentioned Detroit's attitude and things like that. Had the Detroit versus everybody thing, right? I'm surprised that Dallas has never adopted that sort of mentality, and I'll say within like the last 10 years. I'm surprised they haven't done that.
But see, the thing about it is that it's for us. It's always to the point of we're going to the Super Bowl. We always believe it's going to be that way, and when it doesn't happen, you've got certain, you know, cats talking about we tired, you know. I mean, we had some of the craziest things that happen, you know, from you know, Tony fumbling the football, you know, 3rd and 27, you know, Dez caught it. You know, we have those kinds of.
He did catch
what I said. You heard what I didn't say.
I get a little emotional when you bring
I know you do, but Dez called it. You know, not beating the Giants. You know that year was 13-3, and you know, so it's little things like that. But at the end of the day, man, it's all about. Most of those kids don't know. Remember that they don't understand it. They don't know what that is. That's 2013. They don't even know what that is.
But Chris, at the same time, I feel like every team that can compete is hopeful that it's their year. You know what I'm saying? Every team and their fan base. So I would never let the masses tell me that we can't feel the same way.
Well, I mean, right now, I'm gonna be honest with you. Hope springs eternal. That's why football season is always hype because everybody, hey, we're 0-0. We can go win the chip. I don't think we have the requisite pieces to get all the way through it, but I think if we get some luck on our side, some guys emerge. We can move that direction. I just saw last year, I just watched the Detroit team last year that had all things clicking all year long and got decimated by injury. So I'm kind of thinking, I don't know if you get a guy, some of these other pieces, I want to be able to get to the finish line with people who've been in the fight and they're, you know, they're going from a rookie to being a 1-year player and being able to help some different areas. And like I said, the areas that I'm most worried about is, you know, D-tackle and running back.
Yeah, man, it's interesting. It is interesting. I do think, and you kind of mentioned, you know, having people that have been in that fight before. I do think that there is some truth or some positive effect to having players on your roster that have been to or won a Super Bowl before. It helps carry a certain level of confidence and stability when you enter the playoffs, because if your whole team has never even sniffed it, you know, it's all unfamiliar territory, you know. So I do think there's some positive effect to it.
I just think you need to start beating some of these other teams, man, that have had your number. Like, honestly, you know, the one team that I really, really want to beat this year, and you probably wouldn't have never thought, but I want to beat the Denver Broncos. Haven't beaten the Denver Broncos in 30 years.
Really? At all?
We have not beaten the Denver Broncos in 30 years.
That's crazy.
That is insane.
If I was a betting man, I would know which bet to take.
Yeah, I know, but I want to beat the Denver. I want to go into Denver's building, beat their ass, and walk out.
Yo, I gotta look that up. I don't, Chris. That never occurred to me. Like San Francisco occurs to me. Kansas City occurs to me. You know,
the Denver Broncos. The last, go and look it up. I mean,
I'm doing that right now.
Yeah. So my thing is, those are the teams, and those are the upper teams the up and coming teams, and teams like that you want to knock off. You want to knock those teams off. You want to be the Kansas City. You know, the divisional guys are good, but I want to start beating some guys on the other side of the bracket that are tough, that are, you know, coming up, you know, going and beating the Chargers. You know, I mean, yeah, beating the Chargers is a big deal. You know, facing in that 6 teams, you know, down 6 teams down the stretch with double-digit wins. Start punching them in the mouth, or being to the point they when they come out of that fight with us, yeah, they go home, be like, Mick, cut me. You know, they beat up too. So those are the games we got to win, and that gets us battle tested and ready for the playoffs. And that's why getting some guys back later during the season really helps. You know, getting guys back and guys hitting their stride later in the season really helps.
It does. Chris, I just looked this up. The last time we beat the Denver Broncos was September 10th, 1995.
I told you, dog.
That's crazy.
I told you, dude. Almost 30 years.
Yeah, no. In September, it will be 30.
That's what I'm saying.
In September, it will be 30.
Dude, I'm telling you,
that's
dude.
Wild, man.
Dude,
that's
I'm telling you, man. Hey, man, you know.
Matter of fact, I'll say this. I remember and you know, I might be going off the rails a little bit. I remember the one game with the Broncos was that 2009 season. And it was like a trap game for real because the Broncos weren't good, and we ended up losing to them 17-10. That's the only one that really just.
Brandon Marshall's caught that pass over Terrence Newman and took that joke into the It went them ugly ass brown and yellow uniforms they had on. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I'm telling you.
That's a truth bomb right there. That's crazy.
So those are the teams that you want to knock off, man. You want to get those teams out and, you know, beat them, handle them, and you know, they're up and coming. They got pieces. You know, you got the DPOY over there. You want to beat those teams, and so that's what I'm looking for.
Absolutely. So we got a little bit of a dry spell, Chris, before training camp. I don't even know the dates yet, but it's a little bit of a dry spell, right? Who are you looking forward to seeing, or what position groups, what players? Give me your thoughts,
dude. Listen, I want to see going into camp. I just want to see us be healthy.
Yeah,
I want us to get through camp and be healthy and just start seeing the different things that people do. I'm excited to see what Eberflus does with the defense. I'm excited to see what Adam Clayton and Cooper Riley do with the offensive line. I'm excited to see how Javonte Williams bounces back and says, "Hey, I'm going to be that guy and have comeback player of the year." Yeah. You know, I'm excited about that. I think you just got loads of pieces. You know, the room that you bang on the most, we've got players there. We got linebackers. I want to see how I'm just excited to see the whole team. So, you know, we got some dry spell, but we're gonna be able to, you know, try to piece. We're gonna rub some kindle together, make a little fire in the woods, and keep this thing cooking. You know, because we try to move closer and closer to our goals and dreams, man. But I'm totally excited about seeing everything, man. I just want people to enjoy it. I don't want anybody getting in trouble. I want it to be just as quiet. The only things I want to hear moving is pen to paper and people getting paid. That's all I want.
There we go. Happen. There we go. Pen to paper and pay. Look, there we go. So the one I'm gonna even say the one I want to see once the pads come on, how well the running back run looks, because you know everybody in OTAs looks great when there's no pads and nobody's really hitting, and you have to ask yourself, oh, would this guy really, you know, hit that little crease and follow through on that run just that way when nobody's really trying to hit him? They just tugging in his shirt a little bit.
Right.
I want to see that. I want to see how those running backs look. And once joint practices begin, I want to see how well our defensive line looks. Yeah. Not just the D tackles, the whole defensive line. I want to see how they look, as well as the offensive line, because that seems to be where this team is going to live and die, is in the trenches.
In the trenches. Living down in the trenches. That's what I'm looking at. That's what
Yeah.
I'm looking for.
Anything else, Chris? While I got you
Hey,
here.
man. Yo, 55 minutes into the click. You know,
Mhm.
we ain't had nobody come join us because we went live. Kind of
Mhm.
in that slow period, but man, if you have
Absolutely.
an opportunity, we're in the algorithm. You see us, we
Mhm.
pop up on your dial. You know, you see my gray beard, you see Brandon's waves, man. You like, yo, they're my dudes, frankly, football. They back.
Mhm.
We are back. Our goal, man, we haven't said this out loud. We've said it to each other, but our goal, man, is to get ourselves up to our goal by the beginning of the season, to be at 500 and to be at 1,000 by the end of the year.
Yep.
Me and Brandon, we've been doing this for a little while. We just haven't been as consistent as we need to be, as we've talked about before, but we definitely need your help. So like, share, subscribe, put a comment in there, man. We ain't been getting too many comments, man. Listen, bro, as you see in the background, you see the different schools back there, man. Put your favorite college team in the comments for this video, man.
I'm
so
a fan
people
of
know
Oklahoma.
who we are. Huh?
I said I'm a fan of Oklahoma.
I don't know why.
Good old Sooners. Good
I
old
don't know
Sooners.
why you'd be doing that to yourself, but it's all right. You know,
Bro.
everybody entitled to their opinion. I mean, you're a
Some
perfect dude.
the greatest running backs in our time have come out of Oklahoma. Come on now.
You know what, man?
Come on now.
Man, that's another time for another show for another time.
You know
we'll
what?
talk
I
about
get
it.
it to you. I get it to you.
We'll do that for another time, man. Just because y'all take aliens with animentium and put them in the backfield, but that's a whole nother thing. Like, share, subscribe, comment, man. We'll be back later on this week. Gonna have some more people. Just me, B, and hopefully you, man. So I am Chris, man. This is my main man, Brandon, and we will forever be Frankly Football. And until next time,
Peace.